Now, as one thing, again, this is a huge overreaction. I does this loss now with two Stanley Cup loss, does this taint? That's probably not the right word I should use, but does this affect the legacy of Connor McDavid? Again, huge overreaction for me to sit here because it's like we've seen the Corey Perry stat too of how he's lost 5 out of the last Stanley Cup finals. Like he lost in 2020, 2021, 2022. Wasn't he on the Lightning in 22 when they lost to the Avs? But then like these last couple ones, he's been on the Oilers that have lost to the Panthers. And so it's like you can look at that where it's like, okay, yes, he won a Stanley Cup with Anaheim, but it's like his legacy is definitely a lot different because it's like, look how many Stanley Cups he's lost. But again, this is a huge overreaction for me to come and be like, oh, McDavid's the James Harden, McDavid's the the Kawhi Leonard of the no. Let's like because I've seen those memes. I've seen those memes, and as true as they might be, I think I was gonna make a video yesterday, but I didn't. Where last series when they were down 3-0, I kind of had a hunch and I had a feeling where if they get swept in the Stanley Cup Finals, like that's McDavid's legacy for the rest of his career. Is like, hey, remember that time in 2024 when you got to the Stanley Cup, you finally got the Oilers over the hump in the Western Conference Final after getting swept the last time you were there against the Avs. You finally got them there, and then you get swept 4-0 to the Florida Panthers. But then the Oilers just as a whole, as a team, just dragged the Panthers to 7 games, and they played phenomenal hockey. Like last series, it was a very good series. Now coming into this, where it's like, okay, shot round 2, let's see how they do. I think did not mean to rhyme there, but what I'm kind of going, okay, is he virtually was absent. He had a lot of assists. I will give him credit on that. I believe he had 7 points in this whole series, but his goal shots, not there. He only had 1 goal this whole series. And so there's parts of me that think like if McDavid had more goals in this Stanley Cup series, they're winning. They simply are winning. Like look at how many games, the games that the Panthers outright won were blowouts. Yesterday, last night, game 6, the clincher, and then game 3. And then also game 5 as well. Like game 5 they did get blown out. But what I'm just kind of wondering with NHL fans is, does this performance, this 1 goal but 7 assists, does this affect his legacy? I personally don't think it does too much. I think this affects both, because the thing is, like, every Michael Jordan has a Scottie Pippen, every Sidney Crosby has a Evgeny Malkin, and like I think, like it is a team sport. I mean, Draisaitl played his freaking ass off. Look at how many OT winners he had in the whole playoffs, but just in this series alone. Like, he had 2, so it's like, wow, this is all, let's point at Draisaitl and go, okay, this is, have you seen the meme where...
What we need to do now is get focused and stop pointing fingers. You're a problem. You're a real problem.
And so, where, but I think Draisaitl had a phenomenal series. And I think it goes without saying that a lot of the issues that the Oilers had, not only with like just defense, because the Panthers' offense would just smother them, and Skinner would get stuck in certain situations in games, whether it was Skinner or Pickard. Their defense stopped them. Whether it was Ekblad, whether it was Forsling, whether it was Luostarinen, whether it was Mikkola, like hell, even like you can throw Barkov into the mix, or Verhaeghe a handful of times, or Marchand, and Bennett too. Like, just see how many players I listed off that had a key contributing reason as to why, hey, this is why their top 2 guys, Draisaitl and McDavid, could not score, because their defense was just smothering. And even if, because we saw in yesterday's game, there were, game was already out of reach, but there was a breakaway with McDavid, and he had to get through 3 guys before he could even, he had to get through 1 guy around the middle of the ice, 1 guy at the blue line, and 1 guy beyond the blue line. when he was going up the side, and that was all before even taking a shot at the best goalkeeper in the NHL right now, Sergei Bobrovsky. So it's like, okay, it kind of makes like just Florida's defense top notch, and I think when you look when I guess we look back now, I think there's going to be a lot of headlines and there's going to be a lot of talks on, oh, McDavid's going to leave the Oilers. No, he's not. I don't. Why would he leave the Oilers? Like I think McDavid stays with Edmonton, and we'll just see where Edmonton goes from here. But again, like if he leaves, he leaves. I don't think he would. I think that'll be just a lot of talking points to just kind of stir stuff up. Kind of like how we think, okay, something in the core four for Toronto, they're gonna, something's gonna happen there. Jake Onger might request a trade from Dallas, considering how they left Dallas. The Panthers are gonna move some there's gonna be talking points, and I just think with like the legacy of McDavid now after how he performed, there is a little bit of a hey, remember, but that's why I wanted to pose a question to you guys and let me know in the comments section, like, what do you think McDavid's legacy is now after how this Stanley Cup Final Series went? Like, I still think he's a phenomenal player. He's up there with, Cale Makar, Austin Matthews. Well, he's better than Austin Matthews, but like Nathan McKinnon. Like, there are still phenomenal players in the NHL. So I wanted to like pose that and open that floor up on where does Connor McDavid's legacy sit now after losing 2 Stanley Cups? So that's the only question I wanted to pose for this. I think he's still a phenomenal player. I don't think he's going to leave Edmonton. I think everybody's going to get loud where it's like, oh, you can't win here, jump ship. He's going nowhere. Like Edmonton, I'm not going to be surprised if Edmonton wins a Stanley Cup, it's going to be because McDavid's there. Come on, like McDavid's the man. So anyways, that's my thoughts on that, guys. Be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments section and hit that like button. I'll see you in the next video.